So, Boku dake ga Inai Machi or Erase, this show came out yesterday and it's definitely making a lot of buzz right now. And I will say that after watching episode 1, not once but twice, this right here is probably the best show that I have seen so far to come out of the winter season. Now, of course, I have not watched every single new show. Like, I still have not watched, Assassination Classroom. I still have not watched season 2 of that yet, but this right here definitely standing out for me right now, which is why I am doing a first impressions video. And of course, it's season 2, manages to grab my attention like episode 1 did. I will definitely be picking up this show to review for the rest of the season. But this show, it stars a character named Satoru, and this guy, he is very different from every other MC that we've seen so far, and most anime to come out today, because this guy is a straight up normal person, because we see now that he has his fears where this guy is scared to look deep inside of his own mind. We see now that right there kind of hurt his career as a manga artist, where this guy can no longer be one. And we even see, to make this guy more like an average Joe, we even see now that he works a regular, 9 to 5, where this guy is like a pizza boy. And so we see that, Satoru, he had the power to go through what he called a revival. And so we see now that episode 1, three revivals happen, and all of them were pretty important, where we have the first one in the beginning of the episode, where we have Satoru saving this boy from being hit by a truck because the driver, I believe, passed out, or did he die? I believe, maybe they said that he had a heart attack or something, but regardless, only Satoru, because he got hit head on, and another car, right after saving that boy, only him and the driver were the only casualties. So the other one was where we have his mother, who I will say is who looks way too young. Who looks way too young to be 52. One happened where they were together, where we have, him and his mother in in a parking lot, and we see that, while they were walking, Satoru, he could not figure out what it was, because, nothing really seemed out of the ordinary, because we have this kid who has spilled his ice cream. We have, some little kid who was trying to get a balloon, but then we see, then we see a bunch of them, go up into the air, and then we have some guy walking with a child, and if you see now that when the revival happened, we saw, a blue van, driving by, but after the revival, we see now that the guy who was taking that little girl actually saw Satoru's mother. And we see this guy look pretty shady, because he looked away, almost immediately. And so throughout the episode, we could not see his face fully, but this guy has some pretty red eyes. And so after that, we saw now, because he could not kidnap the girl, he actually, left her there. And so of course we learn about the event that happened when Satoru was in the 5th grade, where we have 2 students who were in his class. They were kidnapped and of course killed. And one of them was a girl who actually knew, because, or actually saw, because we see now that when Satoru got in the accident, and we see now glimpses of his past, they were this one scene where we have him walking, and spot this girl in a red jacket, and so we see now that this girl, that right there was the last time he saw her alive. And so there was this guy who Satoru called Yuki, and this guy, would come around him and play with him. And so of course, Satoru got pretty close to him, but this guy this guy, got those murders and kidnapping pinned on him, and of course he was killed. And and even though Satoru called him Yuki, his real name was Jin something, and so And so Satoru always thought that, that Yuki was the one who actually didn't do it, even though this guy got arrested and killed for it, Satoru thought that like he didn't do it. And we even have him, one scene in the past, begging his mom, to believe him, saying that like, Yuki didn't do it, and that he actually could have, saved that girl if he told her, let's walk home together. And that right there was the memory that like Satoru actually wanted to like, forget the most. And so we see that like, besides Satoru, we have his mother, who like 52, even though she looks like 20 something, of course. And then we have Katagiri, who even though says that like, her and Satoru aren't that close, she definitely, kind of like, contradicts her own words because of her actions, because we have her like visiting him in the hospital. And then of course, there was this scene where she actually, sees them, leaving the store, and we see that, while they were walking, she has to come over for dinner, and they were eating. And so then we see now that like, when they were like going home, or where, Satoru was like giving her a lift to the station, she definitely looked pretty happy being on that bike with him. And so we see now that at one point, while they were all together, they were definitely being watched, and that right there was like by the man who was trying to kidnap that, little girl. And so right now, this guy definitely, wants to get rid of the mother, because he knows that like she could like rat him out. And we even see now that while the mother was like alone, and we have her in the store, she was like definitely trying so hard to remember who actually was, because she almost had it, and she even said that like it was right on the tip of her tongue. But for some reason, she couldn't remember who it was like at all. And so then we see now, one night where Satoru, like we have him leaving work, and we see now that like Katagiri, she actually wanted some more of the curry that like his mother made, because it was like so good. And she even knew that like Satoru, had it for breakfast, because of course, his mother made so much of it. And so right now, where we have Satoru going home, we have his mother now come home as well. And of course, she was like alone at first, and right now she is like getting close to exposing who this like kidnapper is, because right now she also thinks that like, she also thinks that like maybe back then that it wasn't June who like doing all this, it was like somebody else. And so we see now that like when she came home and she like took off her shoes, she had put down, some kind of note that was like in her notebook as well. We see now that at first you thought maybe it was like Satoru coming in there, but no, it was like the killer himself who like someone able to like get into their apartment. And we see him now, ramming this knife, right into her back. And that right there was like so messed up. And like, and all you see next is like, and all you see next is his mother, now falling to the floor, and we just have blood, everywhere, like coming from her, obviously. And so right now, for the first time, she sees the killer, and she knows who it is, obviously. And so now that she figured out who it is, she wants to like contact Satoru. And you see her now, like very, very, very weak looking, lifting her arm up, slowly to like grab her phone. But this killer, all he does is just like, just like go right in there and like take it from her, leaving, that poor woman to die now. And so we see that when Satoru finally came home, when you have Satoru now coming home, all you see him now is like passing the killer. And we see now that the killer, he was like hiding his face for the most part, but you could see that that he wore glasses, and once again, you know, you could see that the guy has some really strong, you know, red eyes for some reason. And so right now, when Satoru had went in, you know, like went home, you know, at first he saw that his apartment door was open. You know, that right there was like a red flag one. And so we see now that when he looked to the stairs again, and you know, and this guy, you know, was now gone. And so he like went inside thinking that like maybe it would maybe it was his mom doing, you know, leaving that door open. And of course she had, you know, that note on the floor, which he thought was like probably trash. But when he actually, you know, went into like the living room area and saw her, that right there is where he went to start for like a rude awakening, because at first he could not believe it. He was like in such a shock that, you know, this guy, you know, just kind of lost it, because all you hear them screaming. And then you have his neighbor who also has some like Curie as well, and she was like bringing him back the dish that like his mom, you know, let her borrow. And all you hear is like her screaming, and then, you know, like the next thing you know, it's like she runs out, and to me, this right here seems kind of weird, because when she ran out and Satoru ran after her, like the cops, they were already there. Oh, you know what? You know, I'm thinking maybe it was the killer. You know, that right there could be a very strong possibility that, you know, that it's possible that like maybe he had called the cops, you know, on Satoru, so that way he could like frame him for the murder. Because to me, that right there will like definitely explain how in the world did the cops get there so freaking fast. And so we see now that one of the cops here had actually wanted to, you know, take in Satoru and ask him, you know, like some questions, you know, so Satoru got really scared, but then you see this butterfly now flying around, and obviously, you know, a revival is definitely about to happen. And so we have Satoru taking off now, running from the cops, and then, you know, and so we see now that right there is when it happened. He gets sent back to the past, and we see now, you know, this right here is definitely not like the 1 to 5 minute lap that you know that this guy, you know, like first talked about at the beginning of the episode. We see now that he actually got sent back. Let's see, this show took place in what, 2006, and we see now that like we see now he actually got sent back to 1988. That right there is like what, 18 years. And so now, you know, with him being 29, and obviously he actually got sent back, you know, 18 years, which like make him 11. And so right now, our MC is now an 11-year-old once again, and that right there is like extremely fascinating. And also, you know, that red mailbox that he actually ran past, and of course the street that like he was on as well. That right there definitely, you know, that right there, you know, actually reminded me of like of a certain thing in part 4 of JoJo. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil it because the anime did not air yet. But if you're a manga reader, then obviously you also get that reference as well. Even though that right there is like two completely different series, it's still, you know, it's still reminding me of that. But overall, like I said, for first episode, this show is like definitely very interesting, which is why I want to do, you know, a first impression. But because this right here has been going on for so long, you might as well call it a review as well. But of course, you know, let me know what you guys thought, and sorry for all the messages right now. You know, like I oh my god, I cannot talk today for some reason. Like, I have no idea what's going on for me. You know, hopefully I can get over this and, you know, talk normal for you guys, you know, next week. But like I said, please forgive me because right now my mind is like all over the place. But of course, let me know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I can see you all and talk to you all next week about episode 2 if I like it enough. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.